Hey guys, Chaps here, and welcome back to Shifting Gears. Today we'll be discussing various aspects of the Gears 4 campaign. This is the full 2-ish hour video, so feel free to watch it all here. But if you'd rather, we have it split into 4 shorter videos, which you can find linked below. As always, I'll have the guest profiles and a write-up of my personal views linked below as well. Thanks for watching, and enjoy the show. So, let's hop in and introduce our guests for the week. We are all Team Tac-Com members. This is kind of a first that we've all been on camera together.
Wow!
Oh, wow.
Yay. Hey, Schwartz, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Swartz. I play Gears from time to time.
Do you?
I've been playing... Well, I mean, not for a while. I've been playing with Chaps from day one, man. Used to play Gears 1 on your Xbox.
Yeah.
So this is a bit of a long-time hobby.
Yep.
All
right, Dodger.
I'm on the forums, I lurk, but yeah.
Yeah, no one cares about the forums anymore, Schwartz.
I know, right?
Good times.
Dodger, you've been on the show a few times, and people like your Minecraft stuff.
A few times, I guess. That's the one way to say it. Yeah, I mean, I've been playing Gears since, I guess, day 2. I don't know, December of 2006. I mean, you see me introduce myself.
Yeah. There's not too much of a need for intros on this episode. It's kind of weird.
I mean, now I kind of go between Gears of War and Fortnite right now.
Yeah. And then we've got this this ghost over here.
It's the first time you've had a ghost on here, right?
Yeah.
Really good.
I'm Jess. I do behind-the-scenes Tac-Com stuff and the Gears recap every week, but not so much anymore. But maybe someday. I've been playing Gears since it came out. My roommate at the time made me play it, so I got into it because there was a chainsaw I could kill people with. I'm not good, but sometimes I am. And these guys put up with me. I think they just like to make fun of me.
Yes, that's why you play with us. And you have some of the rarest Gears stuff. You have like that white Ultimate Edition.
Deal.
You have the white Ultimate Edition console. You've got a skin named after you in the game. You're lucky. All right.
Shenanigans.
And I'm Chaps. Yeah, no one cares. One of the things just to throw out right at the beginning of this video is the spoilers. Dodger and I think Schwartz may have been there too. We did a video a long ways back about how they advertised the game and how spoilers kind of ruined stuff for us and lazy marketing, stuff like that. We'll have that video linked below, but we're not really going to talk about that here. So, because there's a lot of other stuff to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Let's start off talking about characters and enemies. I guess we'll start with characters, character development, who was included in the game, that type of stuff. So, Schwartz, I know you're opinionated on some of the characters and your thoughts on them. You want to start us off?
Which characters am I opinionated on?
The main 3.
Yeah, let's start with the main 3.
Well, I mean,
let's say their character development and their personalities.
True. Yeah. They're all kind of the same character. I wish that it seems like they do alternate between, who's the funny one and who's the serious one, and they kind of blend together. I really wish they'd kind of picked a defining characteristic for each character.
They had that 0 punctuation video, I think it was, said like
yes.
They had a wheel that they spun at the beginning of every cutscene to see which character would have what personality.
And it's painfully true.
Yeah.
I agree with that, but I think Dell always had like that same spin though. Like he always hit the same thing. But
not always.
He was always kind of like I don't know.
He had that one serious moment that seemed out of character when he was like, we don't know what's down there.
Yeah, right before they go down the elevator.
To me, that seemed out of his character based on everything else I saw. But
Yeah.
But even if they picked one of the character traits that they had and stuck with it, I still feel like the development would have been a little weak in this outing.
They went with this whole 2-person co-op thing. We'll talk about that a bit later instead of 4-person, so that they could develop the characters further and have more meaningful interactions with the characters. But I really don't. I don't feel like we got that out of them at all on this.
Yeah, it was really weird. Like, even that whole like 2-player thing. I guess we're gonna talk about it later. I have some real opinions on that.
Yeah.
But it does. It feels like you have JD and then 2 ciphers that are tagging along with him that you don't really care about because they're interchangeable.
Yeah.
To an extent.
I feel more bad about the Jin bots being destroyed.
Yeah. So I guess we can.
What happens to the characters?
So what are your thoughts of Jin as a character?
Just like, well, I mean, I don't want to put any political, but it's like any type of politician that just doesn't listen. Just like, no, you're wrong. I'm right.
Yeah.
Just kind of a wet blanket, just like the rest of them.
Yeah.
I mean, her big speech at the beginning of the game is a history lesson. I feel like that's something for character.
Yeah, Schwartz, you always go off about that. It was like, why is she giving a speech that is like a history narrative? Yeah, I personally don't feel like I connected with any characters, and I mean, I know it's just the first game in the series, and Gears 1, a few of the characters had personalities, but they didn't really
I connected with Hoffman, I think, the most out of this game. And that's just because of the prologue.
Yeah. But like, I don't know. They wanted to do this character development stuff. All the characters really seem kind of cut and paste to me. I don't really see much of a difference in them. But I mean, there's a lot of areas to improve on that front. Gears 1 didn't have the best character development. I think they had some good backstory.
But they were memorable. They were memorable, and you finished that game really liking one of them, or 2 of them, or all of them.
And they had their own
I don't
personality.
feel that way. Yeah. I loved Baird after the first game, and I don't feel anything for these new characters. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Cole really stood out in the first game.
Oh yeah.
To me, he has a crazy personality. I think that's kind of what happened with this game. Is I feel like the personalities in this game are almost more neutral and realistic, while Gears 1 had a lot more exaggerated personalities, and a lot of them were, or the original trilogy was a lot more exaggerated personalities, and it's like
more realistic though.
I don't think that some of the original trilogy ones were realistic. I feel like they were exaggerated a bit much, which made them stand out and be a bit more memorable.
Maybe that's not a bad thing, though.
Yeah, it might not be. It
does risk, I think, falling into just like stereotypes, though.
Yeah.
It feels a little awkward sometimes. I mean, I love Cole, but at points it's just like, wow. This is getting a little weird. Yeah, and so I feel like, I mean, there's definitely room for improvement, and I think that they should maybe look towards like the original trilogy in terms of building their characters, developing their characters further. I think there's a happy medium between the two.
Yeah.
Where like I connect with the characters and I like them and I like see their reactions to their situations as something that's more believable than some of the characters from the original trilogy, but also they like stick in my mind and don't just kind of like get lost in the background.
I think one of our conversations that we had with I guess Parasidian, for those of you who don't call him Sid, really showed this off to me a lot. Was there was somebody on the forums going off about, oh, I don't like how Kate's doing this now. That's not her personality. She would do this and that. And Sid's kind of like, I don't know why this person's posting this, because everything in the game has shown that Kate's this other way and she does this other stuff. So it's the fact that, like, the Coalition apparently intended to design Kate one way, but some of the fans see her another way.
Wasn't that the same guy who's like, Kate should have less cussing? Why is she cussing every single time?
Yeah. So, it's like, it's nothing against that guy, but the fact that the Coalition designed with one intent and this fan or group of fans viewed her a different way kind of really shows off to me that maybe the Coalition didn't do the best job showing off those personalities and defining those.
I think that like the most memorable like part of the game for me is Marcus going off about his tomatoes, and that's not even a line in the game. That's like an extra that you unlock.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So characters pretty cookie cutter. Nothing special about them. We'd like to see more development. What about the enemies? We've obviously have the base drone types. Those are really just carrying over from previous games. They serve the same roles. Nothing really memorable about them. The snipers look cool in this game, I think, but they're really just like Locust 2.0, right? For the basic drone type.
Now they're just fully naked now.
No underwear confirmed.
Oh yeah, no underwear.
I do think that. I like the way they look. Like for sure, they look interesting. But I do think that they are Locust 2.0, and you can find analogs for every swarm enemy in the Locust. I know that was
you think that's a bad thing?
I don't think it's not a bad thing. There's definitely it works to an extent, but it is. I would like to see more interesting and varied stuff. I realize that this is the first game, and so I'm kind of giving them a pass in terms of having everything kind of line up one
I
for one.
I like the pouncers. I thought the pouncers.
Yeah. I was gonna say like the base, like the humanoid ones. I can definitely see that. Juvies, wretches, drones, grenadier, snipers. But when it comes to the monsters, there's no Brumax, there's no Corpsers. They have their own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
just to your point, the pouncers were. It seemed like those were one of the first new enemy types they developed. They showed that off way before the game came out. But that was also is a really cool enemy.
I like the way that it those. That's what I'd like to see more of, enemies that make you change up the way you play. Whereas I feel like the carriers and the snatchers, they're just kind of bullet sponges.
Yeah,
and they make you move around, but they don't change up the way you address them. You just kind of keep unloading on them.
Yeah,
and wait for their soft target to open and then lay into them.
Yeah. Shoot the glowy part. Okay.
Yeah. It does kind of boil down to that.
What are your thoughts on Juvies versus Wretches? Do you prefer one over the other?
They seem interchangeable to me.
They're both a pain in the ass.
They are, yes.
I would say Juvies would be more pain of an ass, though.
Yeah.
I like that they come out in more numbers. Well, it just feels like it. That's scary. Not scary, but
the Wretch scream, and it'd be nice if it had that stun ability that it has in Judgment type stuff. But really, the Juvies, the way they come out in a pack or a swarm, I guess, and take you over, and their ability to come out of the pods or scream and release new pods, I thought that was a cool dynamic. And as much as I like the old game, I think the Juvies are a better version of the Wretches.
They do overwhelm me more. And I mean, that is something that the new hardware allows them to do.
Right.
I like that they take bigger leaps at you when you think they're farther away. You think you're getting away, but you're not.
Yeah.
They eat their shotgun pellets like their breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's because they simulate wall bouncing and stuff like that. And
Can we talk about the pods?
The what?
The pods?
Yeah.
How I feel like they expected them to be a lot more have a lot more impact on the way you play than they actually do.
Oh yeah, definitely. They made that a big highlight of something when they were showing off the game, and they really don't come into play that much.
Shoot them down and put yourself some more cover, or you can shoot away the cover and watch out which ones you shoot.
I mean, every now and then, especially if you're playing on Insane, you're just all right, don't even fuck with the pods, or even mess with the pods, because it's not worth it.
Yeah.
But then if you're not playing on anything, then it doesn't make a difference really.
I mean,
whether you have extra cover or not.
Schwartz, our first playthrough, I forget if we did hardcore or normal on our first playthrough, but we intentionally was okay, we are going to destroy every single pod just for fun, and Del kept yelling at us.
That should have been an achievement, man. I'm telling you. Or an unlock or something.
Yeah, it should have.
Destroy 1,000 pods in one playthrough.
Destroy all the destroyable pods in the campaign on one playthrough.
Yeah.
Should have been an achievement.
So you mentioned the mini bosses, or are they mini bosses or bosses earlier? So we have the Snatcher, Carrier, Kestrel, Swarmak. Is that it, sir?
I think really the only one that constitutes as a boss would be the Swarmak. And then
Yeah.
the final boss.
Well, so then there's the mini bosses of the Snatchers,
Yeah.
Carriers,
Those would be
Kestrels.
mini bosses, but yeah.
So, we talked about this before in like the Horde type video that we did. They were really bullet spongy. Some of them had some cool abilities, like the Snatcher eating you, or the Carrier shooting out his, whatever they're called. I can't remember.
Cankers.
Cankers. Yeah, I'm shooting the cankers at you. Like, those were cool abilities, but did you really find those bosses that entertaining, or did they really just come down to bullet sponges?
I like the Snatcher. I thought it was unique. I like that it could. I like that it could slow down, speed up, whatever. The Carrier. The Carrier just seems slow, and I kept thinking back to the Berserkers and how much of a, I don't know, hit in the butt those were, but they were still like scary enough that you stayed away.
I mean, that as long as you don't have the ghost Boltok, that one part where I think it's like the second Carrier in, and it's just that one room with a whole bunch of pods.
Yeah.
It's very claustrophobic, and it's like on the hard difficulties that's going to be like super hard.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the rooms that gave us some difficult times when we weren't using that pistol to go through there.
But I feel like I would rather see like difficulty come from like making you rethink the way you approach something instead of just like, all right, I have to hunker down here and throw as much lead at this thing as I possibly can before it murders me.
Yeah, it's less like pump bullets into it and dodge attacks, and more of like do this mechanic or attack it this certain way to go through.
But then that's only a one-time difficulty though, because once you do it, then it's like, oh, that's all I have to do.
Once you figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
But like,
I mean,
so
it might take a little work to make it have replay value, but
yeah.
I hate like a boss arenas where it's just a room with a boss in it, and
or like
kill
that,
it and then progress.
Or have that anti-room where it's just like, oh, there's a whole bunch of ammo here, and there's a boom shot. Oh, I guess the next room is a boss room.
Yeah. Must be a boss.
Yeah. The Kestrel as a boss, I don't think I want to see Kestrels anymore. They were really boring. They weren't even difficult. They were just boring. No. And I really hated the fact that it's like, oh, this military has $1 billion robot helicopter that's coming in to attack you. You take out one of its engines, but it decides to stay here and keep attacking you instead of going back for repair or something. They're like, we're just going to waste all of our money on this little thing.
Mm-hmm. That's another thing about the story, but I mean, we'll get into that.
Well,
plausibility.
We'll get into that later.
So I guess it kind of goes into the next couple topics so before getting into the story and the plausibility of things, the last enemy type is the DBs. We'll discuss plausibility of that later, but what were your thoughts of the different types of DBs as enemies?
Well, shockers are just tickers.
Shocker balls.
Shocker balls, yeah.
I mean, they're just tickers, basically. Yeah. Roly-poly ticker balls.
And actually, they had that as kind of a concept they showed it off as a concept for Gears 3, I think, where there were armored tickers that would
that would roll up in a ball.
Yeah, and you could like shoot them back like the trackers. So that's kind of cool. It was kind of cool seeing that come through. But yeah, they really are like the tickers.
I mean, it seemed like slow-moving swarm.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, I feel like the the blow-up guys from Gears 3. I can't remember the name.
The tickers?
No, the guys like the new enemies from Gears
Lambent.
3. Lambent. Holy crap! Yeah, because they explode when they're done, so it just feels like a stand-in for Lambent. And I mean, I have no problem with the gameplay wow, focus. There we go. Yeah, they don't seem. I mean, as far as gameplay goes, I don't have a problem with them. They are kind of samey.
Yeah.
And they have the same thing. It's just like, oh, here's the regular drone. There's the sniper. There's the heavy boomer type. It's just like, okay, wow.
Yeah.
Woo.
So
the robots.
So I don't like the DBs as an enemy type. I do like the role that the trackers played. I liked the I didn't really like the DR1s as enemies, but I did like how they did sort of have that different mechanic where we say they're lit is when we're playing, if you shoot them enough and they start glowing and they're about to blow up, we're like, oh, I've got them lit. And then you have to decide, all right, do I either try and dodge his explosion, trigger his explosion, get away, or do I shoot him enough to make him go away? That was kind of a mechanic we hadn't really seen too much before, or at least it was in full force in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kind of like the Lambent Dredges.
Yeah, the dredges would do a similar thing.
Yeah. And then the Guardian Sentinels.
Guardians and Sentinels.
Those guys are really
Annoying.
But I mean,
But
that was
they had
like
difficulty.
weren't they like the first enemies in Gears to actually have a regenerating shield of some sort? In the past, it's always been like you shoot them and you keep doing until enough damage is eventually done, they die.
Yeah.
Technically, ROM.
It would be. Yeah, that's true.
He had a
It
shield.
would be
that
interesting,
come back.
I think, if they made you like juggle ammo type, like if you could use like the shock enforcers to like really get through their shields, and then somebody else could hit them with like a regular ammo to destroy them. I think that would be cool if they used that to mix up the gameplay. But as is, I mean, yeah, they added a layer of difficulty, and I can't really. I mean, I don't want them to go away, but they are one of the more annoying.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think at the time, because the first time you see it is when you're at these the Outsiders camp, and at that time all shock weapons are gone.
Yeah.
So, you wouldn't be that, but that would be actually kind of cool.
What do you think of a like a swarm alternative to a Guardian would be? If for some reason Guardians and Sentinels were not
Mutated
to return.
Pouncer.
If
Flying Pouncer, a pterodactyl.
I was gonna say, if anyone has seen or plays StarCraft,
Yeah, I was thinking
the
that.
Zerg Viper,
Yep.
where it could reach out, grab you, and bring it over to you. So like, oh yeah, now you're surrounded by a whole bunch of swarm and stuff like that.
That would be
I
cool.
like that.
So like, if you look up the concept of like the Zerg Viper flying unit, I
Okay.
think that would be a pretty awesome swarm type.
Let's see. Are there any other enemy
That was just
types?
off the top of my head.
Yeah. Are there any
Yeah,
other
that's
enemy
pretty cool.
types that were missed? I guess there's Scions. They have.
Yeah, the Scions.
They're really like the
just-
boomers.
They're just
Boomers.
boomers.
But they
Boomers.
do have, it's kind of boomer mixed with Cantus. I don't like the Scion Scream as much as the Cantus healing and bringing in ticker type thing. But
It doesn't. To me, it doesn't seem like it affects gameplay the same way that the Cantus did. I mean, it can like
No.
bring him up, or like
I just don't care
Bring
as
them back
much
to
if
their
that
feet.
happens.
yeah. I don't know. I feel like I
mean-
remember the Cantus reviving people being a big deal, and now I barely notice it when they do theirs.
I mean, I just take them out just because they have a drop shot or a buzzkill, and that's
Yeah,
right, it's
really annoying.
Yeah, that's the more like pressing issue is that they usually have some big heavy weapon that can mess you up.
the Cantus you took out because either one, you were tired of his freaking ink grenades, or you didn't want him to continuously revive all the enemies that you're trying to kill, so that's why he was the target. This time, it's like, it's the big guy, he's got the heavy gun, I'll take him out. It wasn't really the mechanic that drove you to want to take him out.
Yeah.
Were there any other enemy types from previous games that you think weren't represented here that you would have liked to see back?
There's nothing like there's nothing really analogous to like head snakes or anything like that.
I would have liked to see something like Shriekers.
Yeah, the Shriekers and Cerapedes were the two big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the Shriekers because you had your ground forces you were trying to take out, and then you had those little things messing with you, and it just added a layer.
Let's see. So if that
Oh, there wasn't really like a Theron type of class, really. I mean,
there were
there's
the hunters,
hunters.
the swarm hunters, I guess. But that's the thing is like
that's more of like the elites, like the drone elites or the grenadier elites and stuff like that. Even though they're their own thing, but
yeah, it's like the swarm seem to have like scions and drone types,
yeah.
while like the Locust had drone types, and
Cantus,
Cantus, and
Therons,
Theron.
Boomers,
Yeah, like
monsters.
there was more variety, I guess.
But there were 3 games of development in Locust characters.
Yeah,
So
but
there
still,
was
I
one
feel like
Cantus.
even though they were beginning this new trilogy on their own, I feel like we're so used to seeing so many enemies, they could have done a little more.
I think the variation in
What?
look, the variation
Gears
in
of War
look.
5. Now
of
the
the-
swarm
yeah.
are riding pouncers.
Yes!
That'd be dope.
Dude, that'd be
I'd play
amazing.
that.
Nice.
It'd be like the,
Bloodhounds. The Bloodhounds.
yeah. Oh, but what if they're like more like advanced pouncers? What
No,
if they get more-
the blood moons.
Well, what was it? Because whenever they had like the crap, what are they called? The blood mounts? Yeah, blood mounts. I always had this idea of a concept of like an alpha blood mount. There should be an alpha pouncer where it's just like maybe like 1.5 times bigger. It's more
Dude.
armored.
Next boss should ride a like mutated pouncer.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got Hydra and Shibboleth in my head.
Oh no.
There was
Really cool.
there's an idea we had where it was like, what if there were like pouncer keepers, who were just like essentially like like the dog, like
Dog handler.
dog handlers. Yes, pouncer handlers. That's the one. Couldn't think of the word. That'd be cool.
Release
like,
the
if you had
hounds.
yeah, like you had a guy who kind of like brought the pouncers in, and they were more coordinated while he was still there, and you could like try and take him out while ignoring the
Yeah.
pouncers to make them easier to handle individually, or you could just like deal with the pouncers. I don't know. That'd be interesting.
It'd be like a dude who controls his sheepdogs, and like you go
Yeah.
into this room and you see this guy. It zooms in on the guy, and then they pan down to the dogs.
He has them on leashes, and he's just like,
God, Shorts,
And
you
then
got
you
Jess
just let
all
him go.
excited.
So I was like,
That would be awesome.
That'd be cool.
What if there were little baby pouncers that you found? Like, you know how you see the ticker cages in 3?
yeah, dude.
Like little kennels?
Yeah, you run across like the pouncer training academy.
You don't kill them, though. You don't kill the babies.
Gears
All
of
right.
War RPG where you can have your companion and
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, I'd play that. I'd play that.
baby pouncer. It's not that powerful, but if you keep throughout the entire game, it becomes a full-grown one, and it's like your best friend.
Yeah, and it can be like a you could like roll across some like outsider camp where they've like declawed and defanged and detailed
That's
the
cruel.
pouncers, and
That's
like
cruel.
you can get them as pets. Like people just roll around with pouncers on leashes that are like, that'd be funny as shit.
All right.
This is the best tangent, by the way.
Yes. Tangents are always fun, and they help us fill time. So, I think, did that wrap up characters and enemies? Have we covered all of them?
What about the introduction to the other members of Delta Squad? Because I think they did Marcus okay.
Yeah, so actually, that kind of transitioned us into let's talk about the story.
Okay.
And so the story, I mean, not only do we have
realistic.
not only do we have like we'll talk through the chapter and the actual story itself, but we'll talk about the throwbacks and the plausibility and stuff like that. So you mentioned the throwback to the characters, which Schwartz, I know that from you and I talking, this is something you've brought up plenty of times that you weren't a fan of. They need to let go of the past and focus on the future, right?
Yeah,
Where did I,
I
hear that
think-
before?
I mean it's cool. Haha, I get that reference. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like,
Oh,
I
Star
mean,
Wars.
don't like cut it completely. Marcus is cool, Cole's still cool, but like the fact that it's just like
Just get rid of
it's all
Barry.
tied together.
Bear's like,
No! Give him
Jess.
Rogaine.
Give him Rogaine.
I think he's beyond that.
But yeah, I mean, there's all these nods to the previous games, which some of them are like, okay, yeah, that's cool, but really they need to move on.
That was one of the big things that kept me like somewhat interested in this story. I'm sorry. Maybe they should let go of the past, but those were probably my favorite moments because I love those characters.
Yeah, let's kill Anya and then bring back the
Okay, I
annoying
miss Anya.
Sam. Let's bring back annoying Sam. Yeah.
I
Baird's
knew
lady,
Sam and
special
Baird was
lady
gonna
friend.
hook up. I knew it.
Special lady friend.
Special lady friend.
That reminds me of that scene from The Big Lebowski all the time where Jeff Bridges is just like, she's not my wife, she's my freaking lady friend, man. She's my special lady friend.
Again, that just means like the interactions between Delta Squad with each other was so much better than the interactions with.
Yeah, it is. They are the saving
Yeah.
grace of this game because like they're
Yeah.
better than any of the new characters. But I was a little disappointed when they like decided to focus on the character who's the son of Marcus, which okay, they made that
Cliche,
call,
but,
so
yeah.
we can go with it. But like, I don't know. I kind of wish that they would start moving on from Delta Squad.
Do you think?
They don't have to like die, and they can still be around. But like,
Do you think Delta Squad will be involved in Gears 5 at all? Do you
Yeah.
think Baird and
I
Oh
Chloe?
yeah,
imagine they
definitely.
will.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
What about this? Do you
I
think?
want them to be.
Do you think there's any other characters from the previous trilogy that we're going to get introduced to in Gears 5? That's
Dizzy.
like,
I can already hear somebody screaming, "Carmine!"
No. I'm just gonna put it out there. I hope Carmine dies and never appears again.
Yep.
yeah. I hope
Carmine.
I hope Gary was just like a little nod to the Carmine thing, but that was their way of killing off Gary. Was their way of killing off like, all right, Carmines are done. We're done with this.
I know I'm gonna get hate for that, but I can't stand him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun the first 2 times, but yeah.
It has
Yeah.
become a huge thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the forums killed him. For me,
The forums.
my
Yeah.
God,
People love their Carmine.
they do.
A few other characters I can think of I never want to see again too.
There's a few characters that I definitely don't want to see back.
I hope they bring Chaps back just to like brutally murder him.
Oh man, he's dead.
How old will he be?
I don't know. Maybe he's just like a head in
I
the
don't
jar
think
at
he
this
had- I don't
point,
think
and
he had
somebody
a
like
bigger
drop
than-
kicks it.
What if
I
he's
hope
leading
he's
the
like-
swarm?
I mean,
What
he
if
was,
yeah.
he was like Gears 4 Hoffman age at the end of like 2 and 3,
Yeah.
and then 25 years. Like, yeah, he dead.
Wheelchair chaps.
No, I think someone's pulling him in a wagon.
I want to see Wheelchair Hoffman.
Wheelchair
I
Hoffman,
want to see Wheelchair.
dual
Hoffman.
Lancers.
That'd be dope. Yeah, it'd be so cool.
So,
If you could like push him into like a group of people and he like just kills everything.
What if?
just
what if- okay,
kills everything. He's near them, they explode.
Josh, remember the last video where he did was it like there's like capture the flag or like the bomb game type?
Yeah.
What if Hoffman was the bomb?
Oh, you had to wheel him around.
Yes!
That'd be dope.
Oh my god. So, speaking of things that are impossible and not going to happen, how about that converting energy into matter with the
Oh my
fabricator?
The fabricator, yeah. Like
Why
fabricating
was the
technology.
fabricator in the campaign?
Because you can convert energy into matter. They obviously
It was-
figured out physics, Schwartz. You studied
Well,
physics for a bit. You should know it.
Like before Gears 4 came out and like they were showing that they had the settlements and DBs, I'm like, there is no there's no plausible way that they could get that in 25 years. Like where they're at, there's no way they could have done it. And they're like, well, we have fabrication technology. Okay, that would explain it, but how'd you get that technology?
That
And it just like it breaks everything. How do you have any kind of like strife if it's just like, oh, they can just make a thing out of nothing?
yeah, that really killed me. It's
I
like
mean, it's perfect for Horde. I mean, Horde doesn't have to be canon. That's fine. It's a brilliant mechanic for Horde. It's so fucking stupid in the campaign.
Yes.
yeah,
I understand why they did that in the campaign to, get you started with Horde and stuff, but
Plot
I hate
device.
that it was in the story.
But
Yeah, they
the
could've
other
done
thing,
that
Jess,
without-
if it wasn't in the story though, they would not be able to explain any of the DBs and the new civilization and stuff like that.
Being able to build up like that.
I feel like
one generation.
somebody at the coalition was just like, guys, this isn't possible. Wait.
Magic box.
Yes.
Like, I mean, if they're gonna explain away something, though, they could have just been like, they got all this shit from Azura. There's like manufacturing and shit there, so you know, they just like flipped the factories back on and started pumping these dudes out. They don't
Yeah.
have to like break physics to make their game work.
Yeah. Oh, God. God, we could go on a tangent forever about that. But that's just
like
fun.
beyond like human and covenant technology, like in Halo. Like
Yeah, I mean,
able
I
just to
feel like it
convert
makes-
energy into matter.
Yeah, it makes our like fabricator or not fabricator
3D printers?
resonator nonsense seem plausible, honestly.
Oh, God, our resonator stuff that we talked about. Wow.
No,
I'm going to link that in the description, actually. Jess, we have that on the website, right? Schwartz and I talking about
Before the
the
fabricator
resonator.
came up, I still think that the Hammer Dawn was the least plausible. Not just like having the weapon system, but the ability to have a beam go through the atmosphere and still have enough energy to destroy a city. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. I wonder how
Why
powerful it
isn't
would be.
cloaking technology being implemented in?
Oh yeah, cloaking. Yeah, that too.
Plot device.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
Gears 5, a cloaked Kestrel. Okay.
Whatever. Stupid. More
Um,
kestrels.
And then the swarm infect that, and then you have an infected invisible Kestrel. Yeah.
Dude, if we get like robo pouncers, I can't wait.
Robo.
Like
Robo
like
T-Rexes.
the cyber demons from Doom.
You've
Like,
been
I
playing
want
Horizon
sort
Zero
of
Dawn again, haven't you?
organisms. Oh, organisms and demons become one. Be awesome.
So the other two notes I have in this is let's go chapter by chapter or act by act and just what are our thoughts of the actual story. But before we get to that, I just wanted to throw the boss fight out there. Was this the lamest boss fight we've had in any Gears game?
Talking about
Yes.
like you're talking about the final boss?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like you knew this was gonna be it, and you were sad. You're like, maybe it's not though. Maybe it's not, but you knew.
I will say
Is it
So, like-
worse than Scourge?
I thought Scourge was a good fight.
Scourge was a good fight. We know you hate Scourge.
I feel
Well-
like Scourge was missing a final step. The fact that you killed him by killing his ride was
But the boss
Yeah,
fight was before the ride, though, really.
yeah.
Well,
We should have
even
another
then,
boss fight though.
Yeah.
Once you figure out, like, oh, I just have to have my Lancer.
Third Scourge stage.
I thought Karn was a pretty good fight. Mira was,
Oh, that was a great fight.
Mira was an awesome boss fight.
That was a great
Um,
fight.
More like the atmosphere of it was awesome and stuff.
But it had different stages with different mechanics.
Yeah.
I thought that was
Couldn't
good.
stay in one spot. It was you were moving
Like
around.
story wise, it felt
Yeah.
awesome.
Scourge had I like Scourge's fight mechanics, and then it sort of sucked that he died during that flying segment, but that's whatever.
I miss
Rom was-
Karn had the best scenery, I think.
Yeah.
Like the battlefield, the colors, everything, and then
Judgment looked nice. Like that
Yeah.
game was graphically
The
impressive.
Rom fight, like people love Rom,
nostalgia.
but yeah, it's really nostalgia. The Rom fight wasn't really that great.
I think it was the nostalgia of how freaking difficult it was on Insane.
I
in, like,
want
the
Yeah, at
first-
the time, I
first
think
years.
it was. At the time, it was like, oh my god, how am I?
to that
gonna
end though. I appreciate the Rom fight because you're actually fighting Rom and not like the bug that he's riding.
Right?
I
Yeah,
want them to.
Those
That's why
bugs are
he's
cool
so
though.
much better.
I mean, they're cool, and I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't
also
fight them,
fighting
but
his
I also
grill.
like want to see a boss where you actually fight the boss and not their.
yeah.
their
Or you
ride.
could go to Gears 4 where you fight the boss, and you're like, "What did I just
Wait,
fight?"
was this a boss?
Yeah, I was really sad when we killed the speaker. When we did. I
Oh,
didn't
right.
think
And
it
now
was
we're gonna
I
have
was
to-
like, okay,
the
stage
speaker.
2. Wait, he's injured? We were shooting his Swarmak. Why is he, like, crawling away? Like, he's not Karn. Jeez.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that he was in there until afterwards, and he's suddenly like crawling across the floor. Maybe I
I
missed
still think,
something.
like,
You didn't see him jump on it?
80%?
Schwartz doesn't pay attention to stuff. You know this.
You don't pay attention to stuff, man.
That's
This is
story
like- yeah.
stuff.
That's like
What,
your
80 or
opinion.
90% of people don't know he actually has a name. He's called the
Yeah, I
Speaker.
mean,
Yeah.
if Sid hadn't told me, I wouldn't know.
But what about Rom's fight in Rom Shadow? Was that better than Rom in Gears 1?
That was pretty cool.
I enjoyed it.
I haven't played Rom Shadow enough to really remember it.
Yeah, I was
He's
having
flying.
trouble remembering.
He's flying around on his Reaver, going back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
His Krill Reaver.
Yeah, and then he'll drop krill bombs on you. Okay, I remember
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed that. I was not a fan of this boss fight.
No.
I mean,
will
it
say
also
that,
didn't help.
like-
It didn't help that Schwartz, you and I didn't take that long to beat it. When Jess and I did it on Inconceivable...
Oh, whatever.
I died. It was me dying a ton. That took us forever to
I was the one
beat.
doing well.
Because I sucked
really
at timing. And
that there's only one moment. Like, there's only something for one person to do. The other, like, if you're playing co-op, the other guy's just, like, stand behind
the
you.
end of that boss fight was really dumb.
But it's like, alright, it was dumb the way it was set up, but the fact that you just, like, ripped the rotor off the helicopter and were, like, chopping some shit up, that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah.
What's
That was pretty cool.
It's not...
Let's see, so...
Implausible.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, but, I mean...
So
How was he the only swarm there? Wouldn't there be little drones around?
That too.
I don't know.
Like, when we
If
saw...
that's the center of the hive, there would have been more people.
Yeah, when we saw it on the dam earlier, there was just, like, this swarm of pouncers and stuff everywhere.
It was supposed to be like
pouncers.
a swarm version of like a grave mind or something, because he had like all the...
Yeah.
I
like,
guess,
all
or
the-
it was
the
just
powers.
like a convenient, you know, place to dump all of the mechanics you've seen so far.
Yeah.
I love how there's absolutely no build up to it either. He's just this
Right.
guy that shows up for the last minute for you to kill.
Right. That's what felt terrible about it. I didn't like the fight itself. The mechanics weren't anything spectacular, but my biggest issue with it was you come around a corner. Actually, no, you don't even come around a corner. You get to a dead end in the mech, and then all of a sudden, no, cutscene, you're Kool-Aid Man through a wall, and there's this dude here. It's like, oh, okay, I guess we can fight him.
Man.
Are you Kool-Aid Man through a wall? And then it's, oh, there's a dude here. I'll shoot him. Why not? But, alright, so...
Actually, before we get into like the specifics of the, like doing chapter by chapter, I just want to say, like, for future games, I want them to move past like this game was just a rehash of all of the like greatest hits from the past 3 or 4 games. Like I feel like every moment,
Greatest.
yeah. Well, I mean, like every sequence in the game, you can find an analog for it somewhere in Gears 1 through 3.
I will be okay if we don't have 2 people turning a wheel in the next game.
Yeah,
Oh, right.
but I mean, like the mechs fight at the end was just a reskin of the Brumak fight from Gears 2.
But you have 2 of them. Ooh.
Yeah, like the chasing or finding Marcus underground really felt like a rehash of the
Maria.
the opening sequence.
And also,
yeah, Maria too. Yeah, it was like Maria mixed with the like the first parts of.
can we
Gears
just say
2 where you're...
that finding a pod underground that you think your dad's in, and then using a chainsaw to open the pod,
Yeah.
and him falling on his face is like,
When you're like, look,
come on.
Can I also say that why did we only go up to 1 pod to find Marcus?
Well,
Like when we
because-
were looking
because
for
that-
Maria,
it was like
that was
obviously Marcus.
Yeah, that was the glowing pod.
That one's
the
fresh.
only pod that looked that way.
Jess, if one of them's glowing with a light on it, you know that's your quest item. I mean,
I know
do you
that,
even
but
video game?
Why did we? Why couldn't we look for him?
You mean like
that was a
Maria?
little lame.
Why couldn't we like roll the dice and maybe a juvie popped out or something?
Plot device. You just beat a boss. They're not going to give you more enemies to fight.
Yeah, whatever.
That is, if the Snatcher didn't glitch and become invulnerable, because, you know, that boss is dumb. But,
I don't want to talk about that.
but alright, so we go through this campaign, and you get this new faction, the DBs are introduced, and the Cog and stuff, and then the Swarm come, and it seems like it's 3 groups that are all going against each other. And that's why we're fighting the Swarm and we're fighting the DBs. But then near the end, it seems like the Cog started to realize, like, oh, the Outsiders were right. It actually is this, like, third party that we really should be teaming up against.
And they don't team up with you.
Well, I mean, it's not that they don't team up with you. It's you don't really get to that point. I'm wondering, in Gears 5, will the Outsiders and Cog finally be working together? And if so,
Nope.
what you don't think they will?
The Cog will want the Outsiders to come under their wing and not operate in their own way. And
But
the
will they-
Outsiders won't allow that because that's why they left the Cog.
But do you think will they actually be fighting each other? Like as enemies?
Directly.
Because I'm thinking, what about all of these DB enemies that are introduced? What about the Guardians, the Trackers? If we're not directly fighting the Cog anymore in the future games, what happens to those enemies?
It would be interesting to like
Robo-Panzer.
to fight alongside them. That'd be pretty cool. And like they could introduce new swarm enemies.
The Jack 3.0, but he's a sentinel.
That would be pretty cool. Like, to have like you'd be able to call in a sentinel strike, or like, hey, we need some backup, and they drop in a.
But I mean,
the swarm take over DB places and take their parts and reuse
the pouncers. What they did to Jin.
Robo Swarm.
Yes.
It's what the pouncers did to Jin. They're just gonna do to all the DBs.
Yeah, the pouncers can like take over. Like they shot at the end of the one chapter. They shoot the
Jin.
DB with their thing. Yeah. So the pouncers are gonna start. The swarm's gonna start taking over. That's not the swarm. What the hell is it?
Yeah.
Was it the swarm? Okay. Anyway. Yeah.
The swarm is going to start injecting.
Yeah, they're gonna take
the robots and make Skynet happen, and the Cog will lose control of all their robots. There we go.
Like an organic Skynet.
Oh, that would be cool. That'd be cool. I still want hybrids, organisms.
So that's where the story's going, we think? The Cog's going to lose control of their robots, end up teaming up with the Outsiders to defeat the Swarm and the robots together.
To bring StarCraft back into the mix, it could just be like infested Terrans.
If it doesn't happen, it's a missed opportunity.
Is it?
Yes.
Because we just came up with that in like 5 minutes, and I really hope that TC can...
They should be like taking notes.
If this is what happens, then they really should be hiring Sid to write their campaign, because... Oh, man. Alright, let's see. So are there any specifics throughout the campaign that you wanted to call out and highlight?
I hate how they have what looks like the entirety of the DB army, I guess. Army and Air Force. After these little group of people who, just 4 people, and they're going after them, and it's just like, and like you said, we're just gonna, like the Kestrel, it's damaged, I don't care, we gotta take him down.
You stole one of our fabricators, we're going to send our army after you.
And you're snatching our people, blah blah, that's so stupid. And then Marcus is captured, and it's a really traumatizing event, right? Okay, let's play rock paper scissors to see who goes in first. And Kate's like, "Nah, I'm just gonna go." But it's like,
you really hate that part, don't you?
I really hate that part because it's like they're gonna joke around like this. Like what?
And going back to the characters though, like when Kate's talking about her missing mom, or JD's talking about Marcus missing, they're all emotional. Yet then on the way, they're still cracking jokes. I just feel like it breaks the mood.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I should have brought this up earlier.
There's no consistency, between like the
spin the wheel, see what it lands on.
Like you said, like
the in-game dialogue for the characters.
But every time that they're like you're playing, they're always like let's kill let's kill the grubs,
It's like they just have like a set of generic in-game phrases that they say, and it doesn't really correspond with the mood of whatever part of the game you're in.
Yeah.
Weren't they like their attitudes and like their personalities, weren't they like millennials or something like that? Or just like they're just like edgy teenagers or something like that? Or something, I don't know. Like compared to like the old Gears.
Well, granted, they haven't been in war. They don't know.
Yeah, that was the thing, yeah.
And I just felt like they could have conveyed that a little better.
Yeah.
Like, this was a serious threat, and it never really felt that serious. Maybe because they heard about Locust stuff, but I don't know.
And then, was it what was it? Like, the reveal of Marcus, like, not dying. It's like, yeah, we already knew that because there was this...
No, we'll leave that.
There's that. I'm going through all of it.
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to die, obviously. And then, the escape from the hive or whatever, that was completely stupid. The dam was like, oh, you have this interesting backstory of Marcus failing at something, right? And he couldn't save them in time. Like, that was cool. And then it's like nothing builds up to that. Like nothing. Like it was like,
it doesn't really go anywhere either. Right? It's just some commentary while he's like giving a tour of this place.
And then I think the perfect time for the Abomination or the last boss guy to be shown is when like they're overlooking that hive, like during the storm and stuff like that, and they see this huge mass just like moving into the stronghold or something.
You'd think that would be an interesting
And then you see him, it's like, oh, that's him. Like
yeah.
But wind flares.
Yeah, we'll talk about
I
those
like-
in a
I like
minute.
that, but-
I didn't like the defense sequences.
Yeah, we'll talk about those too.
Yeah, we can get
Sam,
that on
annoying. Why did you bring her back?
Oh my god.
All right, let's see.
Sorry, there's a good Australian accent, and then there's the annoying one. She has the annoying one.
Bernie has an annoying one
Yeah,
too.
Bernie
That-
beats her
yeah.
by far.
Oh yeah, but I'm pretty sure she's dead.
Are you Australian?
But seriously, the best part was the prologue.
I don't know how to
The best
answer
part
that.
of the campaign was the prologue. And
That's-
Hoffman didn't need to say anything. You could see in his eyes as like, yeah, he's got all this credit on him, but all these gears that you play as have died, except for like the last guy.
That's another part that I have. Like, I do the prologue is cool. I'll grant you that. But it's another. It ties in with my issue of them like resting too much on the old games. Like the prologue that you play is just like a rehash of the highlights of all the previous games, plus a little bit of the Pendulum Wars stuff. And I wish that they'd like started fresh with.
But I like that because that if you never played the original trilogy,
Exactly.
then you have new players coming in and getting a little bit of a history lesson, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, they
Plus
used
the
it as like
Endgame was
a
what
history
I was
lesson
wanting,
and training. It was history
And,
lesson
yeah,
and training
it's
together.
cool, I guess.
So I thought that worked out well.
I guess.
Another way to bring in Locust.
So
No.
So that people could bitch about them not being.
Their
Yeah.
models are in the game, so why aren't they in
Right.
multiplayer?
oh my god. All right.
And then the only bad part about the prologue was the ketchup corpser.
I
Yeah.
love the ketchup corpser.
The corpser looked terrible.
It was great.
There were also a lot of there were some Easter eggs like really early in the game too.
Right?
Let's see. So looking forward to Gears 5. Any predictions?
Or are we not going to do like a chapter by chapter thing?
I don't know. Do we want to go chapter by chapter?
I have a couple
kinda-
issues with.
I kind of
like-
went act by act, but
Let me
Alright.
get my
Yeah.
notes out.
Yeah, so
Anyway.
let's see. So we start with Prologue. Anything else to bring up on Prologue?
Mm,
All right. So we
Not
get
really.
get into the DB base. We're going in. We get the fabricator.
I really don't. I don't like those early levels. They're really boring to me. Just in terms of like going from point A to point B, gameplay wise, and also just the way they look. It's an empty city that's like,
oh, and then the cringy hospital part. Oh my goodness.
yeah.
Well,
It's hard for me to. It's hard for me to say anything about it because of that stupid Iron Man co-op achievement. I played the beginning, like 2/3 of the game, so many times that like it all seems boring and repetitive to me now. We'll discuss that more later, but it's
even
hard for me to
just the way
comment
it
on
looks, like it's spotless.
that. Well, I mean, it's a construction
That's
zone,
what it's
right?
supposed to be.
I know it's supposed to be, but why would you pick that as your aesthetic to just like have you play through this place that's never like been used or anything? It just feels really kind of lame. I
Yeah.
wish that they're like that it had been like an abandoned city or
Oh,
something. So
what
they
it
have, like-
should have been is like so the Cog set up this settlement and maybe a wind flare destroyed it or something, so it's going under like a reconstruction era or something. So you have the combination of
cool.
like eliminated and construction happening, but also a bunch of remnants of like this is what has happened in the past.
I had the like. I felt like they should have had it. Had been it should have been a like occupied settlement, and their initial goal was to just like sneak in and steal some supplies and sneak out. And then when they they found out that it's
JD Phoenix.
yeah, when they find out that it's empty, then they're like, oh, we can steal this fabricator. If you absolutely have to have that fucking fabricator in the game, then they can be like, oh, let's steal this fabricator. Then when they find out after, but I mean, that way you have like, you can see, I don't know, places where they've built outside of the, or like they've built up in different ways than obviously the way it was laid out. You have like ramshackle huts that you can dig through and like evidence of people living here.
Yeah.
Instead of just this like empty
No, this was a settlement in progress.
place settlement. It's just really a lame choice
Yeah.
in terms of the gameplay, I felt.
So
I
we
thought it was pretty.
I thought it was interesting seeing you got to sort of see what the Cog's currently doing to build up one of their settlements. You don't really get much of a history lesson of what's happened over the past years, but you get to see like, oh, so this is where the cog is now. I thought it was kind of interesting from that perspective.
Gameplay wise, I think they missed an opportunity of like, because they're talking about stealth, like, but there should be a way that you could actually skip encounters if you use stealth. But no, it's like every time you go to the certain point, you get spotted.
Yeah, then you get
to a certain point, you get spotted. There's like a way that you could go at least to like the entrance to the Citadel, or I don't know,
the big
main
tower
hub,
thing.
Yeah,
the tower and stuff like that. Like if you can get all the way to that without
get the fabricator, and then they're alerted once you pick up the fabricator, essentially.
Yeah.
So that would.
Well, I mean, I'll say like you get alerted. They get alerted like once you're like outside the tower, so you have that one.
Okay.
That one thing. But I think that would be cool.
So let's see. We leave the city, and go to the outsider fort as a defense thing.
I got some issues. With that.
Why? Was it too hard? The checkpoints were spaced out too poorly? You died too many times?
Those checkpoints were spaced out. I didn't die, you died.
It just took too long.
Sure.
As the actual event.
Talking about the defense portion?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are annoying.
I mean, was it really? It was annoying on Inconceivable and insane.
Yeah.
Actually, it wasn't even insane. It was inconceivable. It was supposed to be annoying there. Was it really hard? So, Jess, we did co-op Iron Man on hardcore so many times.
I know.
Did we ever fail that segment?
Yes.
No, not on hardcore.
Really?
Yeah, we never failed it on hardcore. So
I thought we did once or twice.
No, it's like I hate that segment because of Inconceivable. But really, the first time playing through, or any time after that, I mean, it's kind of just another segment. It wasn't that
Okay,
bad.
fine, it was another segment, but I still don't like, and this goes for the last defense segment either, or two. I don't understand their checkpoints. Like, so you kill 5 guys, checkpoint, and then you have to kill like 1 million guys, checkpoint. I don't get that part.
They were kind of spaced, strangely.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's not attack them all at once. Let's go in a couple of times. But first, let's send in the trackers, and then at the very last, then the Guardian Sentinels.
Yeah, and it's also I like in that part you can actually
game design, though. That's yeah.
You can kill the Sentinels so quickly on that part that like another wave of Sentinels will come while the checkpoint is triggered and the cutscene starts, so you can hear them talking and like more Sentinels are coming in. It's really weird.
Hey, when can we talk about how dumb your bot companion was?
The next under the mechanics section.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to check.
Yeah, you've got the list of topics. Jeez.
God, I don't
All right,
we had a bot companion.
Yeah, the AI.
AI bot, not robot.
Not Jack. Jack.
All right, so we leave
AI bot.
Let's have a moment of silence.
AI, you know.
You know, Dell, if I
Del,
was Kate.
Kate.
Oh. I was like, was it really that forgettable? Like, any like Jack ripped this forward.
You had a pack mule following you around everywhere. No, all right.
He was
that
invisible
would be
the whole
cool.
time.
So we leave the settlement.
Knight Rider.
We leave the settlement, and what that is, we're heading to Marcus's place, right?
Yep.
Yes.
We get in, see Marcus.
You don't. Oh well, even before that, you don't even you don't know, like the fate of Anya, and then it's like an Easter. Like it's like an Easter egg. It's like a little hidden thing that you could go to her grave, and not like in the cutscene itself.
There is some discussion saying like, Marcus, is this all yours? And he's like, no, it's my late wife's family's estate or something.
Yeah.
So really, if you didn't know stuff beforehand, that's the only really signal that Anya had died.
Right.
But
Yeah, I don't appreciate that.
I mean, I think it's fine. It's not getting caught up on the old characters. It's a really quick nod.
You can't have it both ways.
I think it's leaving mystery just for the sake of leaving mystery.
But I mean, I'm not sure what the alternative would be. I don't want to have like this. I don't want the story to stop while we have this moment of silence for Anya. I mean,
and they do
I'm sad that she's gone. But
they do have that though, but as like that alternative.
Yeah,
it could have been like,
and then it adds
different
dialogue later
and
down the
stuff
line.
like that. And then Kate would be like, "What happened to her?" And then he just says, "What happened?" And that's it. Then
she got shot.
We know
she's gone. Let's see. So we're on our way out. We
Marcus chainsaws Jinbot like that.
Yeah, we're on our way out. There is a giant vulture that or not vulture. It's whatever the plane is before the
Yeah, it's
vulture.
vulture.
Condor.
Condor. The condor crashes.
Well, no, the condors. Oh, you're talking about before the.
Yeah. So the condor crashes. You continue on.
All right. If wind flares are such a common occurrence that they have a name now and everybody knows when one's coming in, how have all these dinky wooden buildings not been completely destroyed
Right?
already?
Because it will hold.
And how does he
Schwartz,
obviously
it will hold.
Able to grow tomatoes in that.
Where did he get that
greenhouse.
confidence that this?
Don't
wooden
worry,
building would
Schwartz,
hold?
it will hold.
That was good wood.
Giggity.
It
Was
was
it good glass too with that greenhouse? He was able to grow tomatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To the fact that there were tomatoes there long enough for there not to have been a wind flare.
Let's see. So we continue. There's the stupid kestrel fights or whatever. We get to the first part where you split up. That part was kind of annoying to play. Yeah, I always go left. I make these other. I make Jess and Schwartz go to the right because I hate that.
I don't like that when you do the fork thing and the first one to go on the right, you're standing right in the middle and this
You're getting shot at instantly.
You're getting shot at. If you don't go straight to that cover, you're done.
That's why I make you guys go to the right. Because I hate that. But no, that is... So I did like some of the mechanics on that part of,
having to destroy the stuff and open doors.
Yeah, shooting across to the other side. It was one of those fighting segments where you're right there, you can see each other, but you can shoot...
I mean, it's just like any other, in Gears 1.
Yeah, no, I guess this is just an example of they did it well, I think, in this game.
Yeah, in a lot of the other one, and especially in Gears 1, whenever you split up, it's we don't know where this is going to go, so let's split up, and then they always end up back together. There was no real reason. You could have both gone one direction and gotten...
Yeah, I guess there wasn't really a reason to split up here, but...
Well, I mean, it did help. You ended up being able to let each other through your, the blockades, which I think is a good way to handle that, because you can't say...
Could you imagine doing that solo without AI bots? So you have to go up the left side, shoot the door for the right, then go back and go up the right side, shoot the door for the left. Oh, man.
You don't need to do that.
Oh, no, I guess you just continue going up the right.
Well,
I'm saying, what if solo?
Up the left, the AIs will shoot it for you.
That's what I was saying. What if solo?
What if? Yeah.
And the AI didn't do it. All right, but you continue there. You go through the first wind flare segment, which is the dumbest thing in the game. First time through, I found out you can hug the right wall and just go through it without getting hit. Then you ride the bikes. Jess, your favorite part of the campaign.
Dude, the bikes.
Actually, Schwartz, you had fun with that too.
Dumb. Well, I mean, it's not the fact that it's. I mean, it was annoying when I died the first few times, but I was able to figure it out. I just think that it's not nearly the coolest on rails segment.
And it's glitchy. It's really glitchy. There were times where I was floating. My gun was floating in the air, and my bike and body were gone.
Do you remember when I didn't even get on the bike? I was standing at the...
Yeah, you were standing at spawn.
Standing in the open.
Bye, guys.
And the fight at the very end is just dumb.
So then
the engine core.
Engine core.
Coalition, I wanted to strangle one of you guys, whoever came up with engine core. God, that was dumb.
Where's the engine core? Oh, you mean where the engines are on the wings?
No, the engine core is separate from the engines. Everybody knows
obviously.
But I could have easily shoot the bomb in the back of the thing.
Right?
Yeah.
There was any number of different choices they could have picked except for engine core.
Yeah, I feel like that segment was not put together very well.
Hold up.
Uh-oh. Got Mama Schwartz yelling.
I'm on the phone, Mom.
All right.
Sorry about that.
I'm on the phone, Mom.
I'm on the phone, Mom.
Make love. All right. So let's see. We do the vulture, then we go to that almost midnight section.
With the vulture part, that was the first time that Dell will become like the encyclopedia, and we'll just start naming stuff like this is this is that, this is this.
Yeah.
I do appreciate them, like, not just, like, having people know the names of stuff randomly, but the way they do some of it is really dumb.
Yeah, the way they did it was dumb, but at least it was consistent, and they had something in there to be like, hey, we're going to name this.
Yeah.
Right.
Alright, so then you go to the almost midnight chapter where it was funny because you kind of just walk through an entire chapter and don't fire your gun. Marcus gets taken, you're introduced to the juvies. You fight your way through all of that. You pick up Memento Mori if you want. You don't have to. Oh, actually, in that section is the museum, which I thought it was cool. The museum segment sort of sucked to defend depending on how you did it on higher difficulties, but the museum itself had some cool pictures and displays and stuff with some cool lore type things in there. I like that.
I'm sure Sid's like that.
Yeah. You continue fighting. You go across the bridge, go upstairs, fight your way across with the snipers. Jess, I know you had fun sniping those snipers.
I did. Are you making fun of me?
Yeah.
I had fun.
I am. Yeah, then you go down and rock, paper, scissors to see who goes down first, and you are down underground. Sort of underground. You fight your way through the catacombs. I thought that was kind of an interesting visual there, just the whole underground section.
I thought it was cool looking.
Yeah. It wasn't as cool as I think Gears 1 being down in the hollow. I thought that was cooler, but it was a nice change of pace of things.
Yeah, I mean,
by the way, I'm just going
all functional, and it was all. I mean, it was cool enough, but none of it like blew me away. There wasn't a Gears 2 inside the Riftworm.
I mean, it's just another. Here's another room.
This is freaking
cool.
There's just room after room after room.
But there were mechanics similar to that later in the game. Well, but kind of reminded me of it.
It did, yeah.
But it wasn't as good, like you said.
Yeah, the chains and it did, because it sort of felt like they'd done that. And also, I feel like Gears 2, because right after the Riftworm part, you're at New Hope, which I think is also really freaking cool.
Oh yeah.
They need to like channel Gears 2 more.
Gears 2 was fantastic.
I love the next.
Fantastic.
So the New Hope facility was awesome, as if they like built up on it on Gears 3.
Yeah.
I know they just abandoned it. That's one of the problems I have with Gears 3.
But they did bring Niles back for Gears.
They brought Niles back
for Easter egg. All right.
In a random place though. It's just like
that was random.
Hey, look.
I'm
There's that
watching
face
you.
of that character that you vaguely may remember from 3 games ago.
Yeah. So I'm going through this whole campaign really quick in my head. Just stop me if there's a segment you want to talk about. But so we get through that whole crypt area, go down.
The fight with the pouncers and the fucking juvies in
Schwartz
that like
loves that
circular
part.
room.
In the circle room?
I hate that with a passion.
How many times did we do that, chaps?
Jess has died more times than I can count on that
I
part.
love how you always have to say that.
No, like I swear this part alone, she died more times in this room than like the entire rest of Inconceivable.
Until I actually figured out what I needed to do, he told me to run in circles.
Yeah.
Trying to do it on, but even if you're like if you're on Inconceivable, even that doesn't help because the juvies have like a 7-foot reach. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Although Schwartz and I also had fun because his Inconceivable run I did on hardcore, so we were not able to get Memento Mori. So when the Pouncer came down, we didn't use it on that. So that
Why'd you do hardcore?
We were going for the No Lancer, No Nasher achievement at the same time. So that was fun, having combination of all that stuff.
Oh yeah, that was a
that was a fun run.
Well, that didn't count for him, and I helped him with. I was on casual. He was on Inconceivable. That was still not fun.
But
and then it didn't count again.
So you go down, you drop through the thing there. You're underground at that point, right?
I like the level design in that area. I think it looks cool.
Was that where you split up and you had one person go up high with the torque bows and the other person down low? There was some cool like zigzag thing. I guess it's pretty standard Gears split up segments.
Yeah, that was like the Gears 1 or Gears 2 split up. In the
it was
hollow.
it was like a Gears 1 split up in the hollow where
it wasn't necessary.
The bridges kept crossing over each other and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Let's see.
I think they should have spent more time in that like area, not in that specific area, but in that kind of like design.
Definitely.
That would have been cool.
So you continue through there, and then you get to the lift, and you take the lift down, and you have that
lift
defense
was dope.
segment.
I hate that defense segment.
The defense segment wasn't bad the first time,
It was easy though.
and
It's
then
easy, but it's
if you
boring.
figure out how to do it, then you don't even have to fire your gun.
yeah, and then you realize that the sentries are OP, and you can just crisscross them in that room and sit there. Oh my god, that was so easy.
Put a fence right by the window. GVs pop in, they get caught in that. They don't need to.
I would have liked maybe a future achievement coalition do that segment without any fortifications on Insane.
No.
I think removing sentries from that part would have made that part a lot better.
For some reason, I like remember fighting a carrier my first playthrough on that, but then like I never saw it again. Though I remember. Like,
maybe you're just thinking of like flashbacks to Horde on Lift.
Yeah, I don't think you're right.
Did you dream it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
maybe
it
you're
was
dreaming.
probably Lift. Yeah.
I wish you had to do more. It would be cool if you had to do more to like keep the lift going. Like if you had to like rush around and like put out fires
And
so,
keep
like,
turn wheels.
yeah, you got to keep spinning those wheels, man.
oh my
Gotta
god,
cool
the
the
wheels.
engine.
Because
Job.
Dell is like an amazing freaking engineer and knows how to work this.
So one of my gripes is right at the end of that segment, stuff fails. Yeah, you fall like 20 stories in this thing, and then it stops suddenly, and it's like, really? You just had these guys essentially do the same thing as if they jumped out a 20-story window, and they're fine? Okay.
Saren bones are built strong.
But anyway, so now you're...
If they're laying flat, it's just like an elevator falling.
They weren't.
Yeah. It's like an elevator falling.
Yeah.
Their knees
So-
should be in their chest.
You're underground, you continue, you're introduced to that segment where the Scions come in for the first time. And they're like... I thought that was a cool way to introduce the Scions, because they bust through the wall right in front of you. And...
Rise, motherfucker.
Hey, it's a Scion! I'm sorry, what?
No, but
What? They're cyaning.
I thought it was cool because it's like it's right there in your face. It's not something that comes in the distance and you have time to study it or whatever. It busts
You
through
have
the
to deal with
wall.
it now.
It's like, oh my god, I
Kool-Aid.
need to run. Yeah, they went full
Especially
Kool-Aid.
when you're the second player, like Kate, and you're standing right in front of him. That's another thing. Just saying.
Yeah.
Hi.
Friend?
Oh god, when we were going through the stuff escaping Marcus's earlier, I forgot to mention what Schwartz had brought up earlier. The tomatoes. It was such a fantastic Easter egg cutscene type thing of Marcus yelling about his tomatoes. Anyways, I forgot. I just remembered that because I like to throw tomato things at that Scion.
Oh, yeah,
All
that's
right.
right.
Anyways, you continue. You fight a Snatcher. Actually, before you fight the Snatcher, you find a loader, and you have to take the loader
To
through
me,
some
that
stuff.
whole like segment before you get to Marcus, it feels a little long. Some
Yeah,
of those rooms I feel could have gotten cut and still been.
the
it'd been more,
loader
like,
segments
snappier.
to me felt like they were kind of pointless. It's like they put the loader in there for the point of having the loader in there, and they had two of them like back to back. That was weird. But you rescue Marcus.
Yeah, you could have done more with the. I mean, all it does is clear the way. And if you're like second player
Just
and
put
some
a
asshole
rusty
always
old
takes the
silverback
loader.
in there for no apparent reason. I would have liked that a lot better.
Second player did nothing. First player
Yeah,
hopped in it and
so-
just mowed people down.
Yeah, so if you're second player, it just feels like, oh, I'm walking through this room.
It's
I've
kind
got
of an
some
afterthought.
duties that you let get by.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jeez.
Scrub. That's why we don't
All
let you do the loader anymore.
right. So you, right before you rescue Marcus, you're fighting that Snatcher. I thought that was kind of a nice little mini boss fight because it's a pretty confined area.
That's the way to do it, though. Like, it has like columns in the room. You're able to go around and kind of like
Yeah,
outflank the thing. You're not just in a space. With
and
it.
the
Fight it.
weapons end up falling from the ceiling eventually, give you some more firepower. I thought that
Wait,
was,
they did?
yeah, boom shots
Dude.
and drop shots fell from the ceiling.
in pods
Really?
or like the snot bubble.
Yeah, I found that out.
Holy shit!
I found that out after quite a few
I was
playthroughs.
using my Lancer, like the whole time I used my Lancer, like my first
Yeah.
playthrough. You can see, but I just Memento Mori. You're dead.
Yep. Which, by the way, for anyone watching this video, I found out after our Inconceivable run that a melee with Memento Mori counts as a one-hit kill. So, like,
That is the most OP Easter
so
egg
like
in the
you
history
don't
of
only
the
have those
Right?
14 shots or whatever it was.
I mean,
You
the
can
Scarab-
you can just go
no,
melee
the Scarab
stuff.
gun. Yeah.
Scarab gun was
The
pretty
scarab
OP.
gun you can kill yourself with.
Yeah.
Mentor you can
So-
kill your teammates with.
You can, yeah. You can be a dick with it, but there's no like.
Yeah.
Yes, chaps,
There's no
you can be a
danger
dick
of hurting
with it.
yourself.
Um,
Chaps can be a dick with
Huh.
anything. Though.
So you can just melee the. I don't know. I was gonna say like the carrier.
Do it. Don't be a punk.
all right. So let's see. What else do we have? You rescue Marcus. You go back out through the same path. You go up through
At
the,
least they made it realistic. Like, yeah, let's just go back the way we came. Like, okay, cool.
and then you take the lines up to the air, the wires, be flying out of there.
Let's just do that. Yeah, infinite
Yeah.
ammo.
And there's a
I
nice
I've
glitch
always
there.
wanted to like try that and see like if you just don't shoot, do you die or something?
Right, I've
Because-
never tried that. I've wanted to
Yeah,
try
it's
it.
at the end of the chapter, and you'd have to like fight your way through it to like.
Didn't you tell me not to shoot
Test it.
anything once, chaps?
Did I?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you?
Maybe.
Like
Well,
shooting up?
oh, maybe I told you not to
Yeah.
shoot an eye shot to see like if only one person could. I don't know.
Oh,
But
I
even
didn't
then,
shoot, not the
Well,
person.
Schwartz, when you and I did it, we did like the tap, tap, tap,
Yeah.
tap, like really
And
slow.
it's still, yeah.
It still works.
And that's why we're wondering if you can do it and not shoot at all, and if it's just
Yeah.
like.
but let's say they
Does that
survive
affect-
all that point. Now they're just dangling over there. They got to be super tired right now.
Yeah.
They have like 100 pounds worth of stuff, and there's like, yeah, let's just, yeah, arm strength.
What are they eating?
Food.
No, they're not.
You don't know them.
MRUs.
Yeah, and when did they go to the bathroom too? Are you telling me they
Yeah.
did the entire thing and never had to take a dump?
When does
I-
Jack
I-
Bauer
Marcus-
Schwartz? When does Jack Bauer go to the bathroom? You have all those
Exactly,
seasons of
that's the
24
problem with
showing every
24,
single
yeah.
hour.
Wow,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Anyways, now you've got to the top of the wire. You follow down through the dam segment. You go into a wind flare segment, which can be kind of annoying. You go inside.
It's like left side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. You go inside the dam.
Oh, that's the wind flare that's really freaking stupid because you're like running to this place, you get to the door and like the building collapses on you, and then cutscene, everybody's all right, and we
Yeah.
just turn around and go back the way we came.
Is
Yep.
is this
What was
where
the point of this?
you get through the thing and then you're at the dam, but you're at the the power's off, and you have
Yeah.
to go shoot the wheel, then get the generators. Continue through, you get to the chain room. I thought the chain room was pretty cool.
It was pretty cool trying to like lure the
Scions.
enemies into the scions into the way of the chains.
Yeah.
That should be a thing. You should be able to like lure them and get them to go where you want.
Achievement.
Should be.
Blip blip. You continue. You eventually go across the top, go back down, get the power on, and fight a Swarmak. Which on higher difficulties, a Swarmak fight was pretty good if you didn't cheat and use Memento Mori.
Let's fight. Boom.
Yeah, it's a fantastic boss fight with that pistol. But I thought it was a pretty good boss fight on higher difficulties. Schwartz, we struggled in that room for a while when did our inconceivable / hardcore run.
That was to the point of irritation, honestly.
Yeah, but
I literally have only done it twice, legitly. So I don't even remember.
I feel like it would still be difficult, but it would be a lot more manageable on hardcore, or I'm sorry, on like higher difficulties if your bots weren't so freaking.
yeah,
useless.
we'll get into that. God, fight the Swarmak. What's after that? Honestly,
Spire?
I mean, you get out, you go up a nice long chain of ladder after ladder after ladder, fight across the courtyard, you get in and you fight the carrier for the first time. Then what's after that carrier? You continue and you go into some other building and you climb up.
It's the building, the generator?
Honestly, maybe I'm mixing some stuff up.
I think you are.
No, because Swarmak is the last thing you do until you get to
Fire, right?
then like it's you beat the Swarmak, you kill the speaker, and then boom, you meet Jinbot at Spire.
Okay, so I missed a couple things there.
Also, so I feel like this kind of illustrates
Doesn't
how lackluster the campaign is.
I got the beginning of that thing down
And it
pat.
also illustrates how the environments
Yeah.
around kind of blend together.
Yeah,
I mean,
they
It's
did.
pretty samey after a while.
I mean, I like how it looks, but like it's samey.
And honestly, that last town is you fight through, you defend, you get robots. End of game.
Yeah.
The last defense segment, some of the checkpoints... Actually, the checkpoints on there weren't that bad. Some of them were...
The last one?
The last one was just the 2 carriers?
It was... No, it was...
The one that...
Well, yeah, that one, but the one before it sucked.
The one before that did suck. There was a lot of fighting and then some snatchers.
You're talking about when you're, doing
the defense.
The defense thing, yeah.
The second defense.
Second to last defense checkpoint kind of sucked. But... yeah, so that covers the campaign. Do we have anything else to say about Gears 4 campaign?
I'm sure I do.
Well, okay, there's more to talk about with mechanics and AI and stuff like that. But as far as the story goes... What about Gears 5?
I would not be surprised if the whole swarm thing infecting the Jin bot doesn't get brought up again in Gears 5. I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
That would make me sad, because I feel like that was put there for a reason.
That's huge implications.
Yeah.
I want to see them go...
Campaign, the very end. Very end.
Yeah.
Necklace.
Yeah, so that foreshadowing. So what do we expect to see in Gears 5? Are we all in agreement that they didn't actually show Reyna dying, so she's probably not...
She's dead.
You think she's fully dead?
Are we all in agreement that Kate should have noticed the symbol on all the scions?
Or at least notice, like, yeah, this is the symbol of the locust. Like,
she's not very bright, is she?
It doesn't matter.
I don't know what they're...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Or at least JD to be like, wait, what's that on the other side?
I don't know where they're going with Kate being Mira's... Granddaughter, yeah. I hope they don't go the obvious route and just, like, have Kate become new Mira.
Yeah.
But I hope that
based
on Gears 1 or Gears 4.
It's Mira and Adam Phoenix's kid, and then JD and Kate have incest. Let's make it gross. Let's go Game of Thrones route.
That's the...
All right, Jess, you can go in timeout now. Let's
I want them
let the grown-ups talk.
We're gonna cut that
trilogy.
We're gonna cut that.
Now let the grown-ups talk.
I would like the next one to start like 10 years later.
What were you saying, Schwartz?
Oh, jeez.
The whole, like, having her be related to Mira and also related to JD or something like that. I want them to move away from the old series and not have, like, everybody be somebody's kid.
Yeah.
Right. Well, kind of like in Star Wars, how, like, everyone is related to a Skywalker or something like that.
Yeah.
Everyone's a Skywalker. Except for Rey, apparently, now.
They might change
That's
that.
the best thing to happen to Rey.
They might change
So-
that.
No.
They probably will.
No.
Because, what's his face didn't really have plans with that. Anyway, sorry.
Alright, so Coggan Outsiders. We touched on this a bit earlier. Do we think that... So they're not going to be, like, actively fighting each other in Gears 5, but they won't be, like, fully teamed up?
The fact that Reyna is dead now and no longer part of the Outsiders
Allegedly.
means that they won't be fighting like they were at the end of Act 1. Like, actually, like, attacking them. But the Outsiders will still want nothing to do with the Cog.
It'll probably turn into, like, a Cog...
It's Stranded. It's just another Stranded.
Yeah, where they just sort of, like, they don't want to be there, but they're not, button
We're all stranded now.
But,
yeah.
So to my point earlier of enemies, do you think we'll be fighting Guardians and Trackers in Gears 5?
Yes.
Probably, yeah, because they're, like, taking over, the Pouncers can take over the enemies.
Well,
I think that's what's going to happen.
No, I mean, like, you mean, like,
money on it.
non-infected, though, like...
In any form. Is Eric yelling something?
I think he is.
I could really see the very first part, the first mission is a defense of a settlement. Like the Swarm are attacking it. And stuff like that. And
I want to
fuck it. A wind flare is happening at the same time. It's like
I want to
everything.
I want to see Gears 5 do like the Apocalypse Now route, where you're like on a boat traveling somewhere and you keep like going
Gears
from
3?
location to location. Except better. I want to see them go to places that you have never seen before.
So we've covered that a little bit. What do we think will happen with the swarm, and who's leading the swarm, or where do you think the swarm will go next?
The swarm get pants.
Can we just mute Jess?
Yeah, let the adults talk again.
She's done.
Who's gonna
Dazzle pants? Actually,
Who's gonna lead the pants?
Assless champ.
who's gonna lead the pants?
Who's gonna lead the pants?
Probably another Scion, unless
I don't know.
It'll be
I
this
don't-
one.
Yeah.
I feel like the whole thing with them, like the swarm being, like telepathic or whatever, or being a hive mind. I feel like they're trying to avoid having a mirror character where there's like some leader. It seems like they're trying to go.
Okay, you go.
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't
again,
know
like
where they're gonna go.
the locusts were never like. Literally, there's only one instance, and that's in Rom's Shadow, where it's like, are they telepathic? Because like Rom with Mira, but then in Gears 2, you see Mira using like a PA system at Nexus. So it's like, are they telepathic or not, or is Rom just special? Which I was kind of hoping they were gonna do that in the Rise of Rom.
Special. Anyway,
Rom's was a
feel-
badass.
I
But
feel
yeah, I
like
think that's where they're going with the swarm.
the telepathic thing could have been attributed to some sort of side effect with the
Emulsion. Well,
yeah.
like with the emulsion, that's a high mind type of thing. But locusts were inherently lambent, but that's just
Yeah.
that's just me.
I really think that they do need a leader, just because I feel like it makes
It's a
it
game.
more-
You have to have a boss.
It doesn't
Yeah.
have to, but we all know how we felt at the end of Gears 4. I didn't find that very.
Bossy.
Yeah, the whole hive mind thing seems like kind of a cop out to me.
If the swarm can like form together a big swarm, that would be kind of cool.
All right, next topic. You have to be nice to me.
Look at civil, and then you talk. Oh my god.
All right, yeah. Before this, everyone, Jess is saying, "Oh, guys, now you have to be nice to me and not make fun of me. We have to be civil." And then she starts bringing up, "I want incest."
Hey,
want
man,
things.
it works on Game of Thrones.
It
Dude,
does.
That works
I
on fan
want
fiction.
things to not be predictable. I want an unhappy ending because that's gonna make me happy. Because it's not predictable.
Sarah just becomes a
I do
lifeless husk of a planet.
I
Because
don't
again,
want.
there's no more natural resources.
The
So
best
you have
thing
to-
that can happen to Gears 5 is for them to just like completely be unexpected. Like they need to like
Yeah.
Start with
trying to
not even have JD. It's just completely
yeah.
new characters on the other part of the world.
hell yeah, bring it on, let's go.
Dell just dies right there. Boom, like oh.
Oh my god, I would love for Del to die. And that would bring me into this next topic, and that's the freaking mechanics
And then
in the
Cole,
campaign.
And then Cole reveals that he was actually Dell's father.
Oh my god.
Like, oh my god!
Alright,
Hey, remember when you're trying to put a fortification down and like Dell was like, no.
god,
I'm
the
gonna stand right
AI.
here and screw your dad.
The AI are so dumb. Alright, are you both talking about the freaking elevator
Yes.
defense segment trying to set
Yeah.
up sentries against the wall, and Del is just like, no, this is my
And
spot.
try to put up fences so they can't jump through the windows. And Dell's like, this is my spot. Get out of
No,
here.
I'm here.
Claimed.
That's me. Yeah. So, AI. Oh my god. Please fix them, or just have them go have a tea party in the other room and let the big boys
Or
fight.
at the very least,
When
give us a
has AI
Tac-Com
ever been
option so we
good?
can tell them where to get out of the way.
And that's
Like,
the other
yeah.
Tell
thing.
them to go do something.
Why did they remove that from Gears 1? You had that when you held Tac-Com, you could hit was like
I like
A or
that in
X.
Gears 1.
Roll credits.
Dodger, do you remember in Mass Effect Andromeda how that was with your teammates? I know, I don't like the game either, but do you remember that mechanic? How it was
Yes.
really...
Did you
I
guys
feel like
Go
you
to
need to,
this
like-
spot.
yeah,
did you
need
play
to
Rainbow Six
direct-
Vegas? Rainbow Six Vegas.
Yeah, that
direct
was-
direct
that's the
your
way to
team.
go, yeah,
You need to tell your teammates where you want them and to stay there and defend that damn area.
that's yes.
Vegas was like, you point to an area, say, hey, go there. Or if one of your teammates gets downed, your teammate doesn't go and revive your other teammate. You tell him, like, hey, you need to go revive this dude, and then he'll go do it. It gives you full
need
control
Yes.
to direct them.
Plus, I mean, on top of that, they should just make their AI not quite so dumb.
Yeah. We need not dumb AI. I don't care if we have full, like, Rainbow Six
will
or
s-
Mass Effect style, like, control of directing your character, or AI, but there needs to be some sort of
Something,
control.
yeah.
Because
I
right
will
now
say
it is
that
ridiculous.
they were pretty good at reviving you, and shooting the enemies. It was nowhere near Dom in Gears 1. Oh my god, that was awful.
Or Del getting, like, I just remember being outside of the museum, having Del run upstairs in the museum fighting people, getting downed, and crawling all the way back out for us to revive him so he could
so far.
So that he could run back up there.
Lift.
That's one of the AI things that really needs to be worked on. I think for each segment, TC designated some areas. It's like, this is where the AI is supposed to be and where they're supposed to be fighting, because they expect you to be there. But like that museum segment, we went back outside and fought somewhere else. So, but Del was like, nah, we're supposed to be inside, guys. So he went in there and fought, would get down, come back out for us to revive him, and then just run back in there instead of, staying with the team.
And part of me's kind of torn on the fact that, like, if Del got downed, the bot got downed, didn't matter. You didn't have to go revive him. He wasn't going to die.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird. They couldn't bleed
I like
out.
that because it made things easier, but then again, it made things easier, so...
We would just let Del get down. It was like, all right, cool, he's not in our way now.
He would crawl, like, forever until we revived him and go back in and try to kill them, and we didn't do anything. Yeah. You know what I mean?
They were more, like, helpful. Well, not helpful. They were more useful when they were down.
Yeah.
They weren't in your way.
Problems.
Weren't standing in front of your grenades or your boom shots or whatever. Let's see. On the topic of, like, mechanics in the campaign and stuff, we hit on this a little bit earlier, it's a 2-player co-op game.
Yes. And the way you get into the second player co-op is so stupid. That you
George,
have
your
to, like...
camera loves to lose focus.
I know. I don't know why
it's ridiculous.
doing it. Like, yeah. It's done it like 12 times. It's still doing it.
Yeah.
Anyway. But the fact that you have to, like, start the game and then join it, like, select your character and your difficulty is so irritating. Especially when you're, like, doing difficulty-specific, like, achievements. You're like, oh crap, did I mess up by not, like, did I take too long getting into my character and not selecting?
What are all your thoughts on the fact that it is 2-player instead of 4-player co-op?
Why do you have 3 characters if it's 2-player co-op?
But you can choose your personality, Schwartz.
What personality?
Personality A or personality A. Both choices.
They were so happy to go back to couch co-op, but I think one of the things I like better about there was so much more you could do with 4 players.
Yeah.
But and like I don't know why their argument for couch co-op doesn't make sense, because you can have a 3-player option and still do couch co-op. If you just have 2 people, you select, like, you play split screen and just choose 2 of the characters. But if you have 3 people who want to play the game and you have a 3rd character that you can't use,
I really supported them with the whole 2-player thing, because they made a big deal of, like, all right, now we're really going to be able to focus on character development on this core set of players and not need to build out 4 of them. But it's like, one's Marcus, he's already developed. The other 3 have, like, a random spin of the wheel character. You didn't do a great job developing it. So I was all for the idea of it, but at the same time, you didn't follow through.
Because you've already got 3 characters. Even if, like, they did a great job of developing the characters, there were still 3 of them. And so, no matter what, you're always gonna, like, why not have 3-player co-op?
It was never 2 at one time. It was always 3. Like in like 1 or 2, you had year 2 players, and then one that would come in and leave to help with the story progression.
Yeah.
So one question I have is, how would you guys feel about, like, after you beat the campaign, you unlock 4-player co-op so that they're able to focus on that, like, that character development stuff they wanted and do the story the way they want. But then, like, players 3 and 4 might be generic cogs that come in, kind of like what Halo did, where
that seems unnecessary.
But it gives them the ability to have 4-player co-op. It's like, okay, these characters, they're not going to be in the cutscenes or whatever, but they're just generic cogs to come with you so that you're able to play 4-player. Like Halo did it in.
Still wear your helmets. Mm-hmm.
It's like Halo did it in Halo 2, I think, where it was like, you could have like a couple extra arbiter dudes like walking around with you, and that's not canon at all. It's not part of the story, but you guys want 4-player co-op?
Yeah.
Here, you can play 4-player co-op.
How did they advertise this game?
What?
It was like
as Gears 4.
Yeah, like no, like it was really social. It was friends, play with friends.
Well, I thought it was never fight alone.
Never fight alone. Yeah. So we're gonna put you with 2 people here. I'm not even gonna get into verses.
But then they were like we went from 4 to 2 because we wanted to be like a more personal story. Like it was more like that, but it's like
there was no personal story.
There was no exactly.
Well,
and
it made me
do the never fight alone. They really should have just gone the route of 4 players. It would have opened up so many more opportunities for campaign, replayability a little bit more, especially if they added different modes. I'm sorry, with all these other achievements they added, I really hated going back and playing campaign over and over and over again because it was nothing new. It was nothing to shoot for. It was just to get the achievement.
Yeah, and that kind of transitions us into this last segment that's like replayability and stuff. So there's achievements, and then the big thing from Gears 3 that wasn't included in this was the arcade mode.
Arcade mode.
Like,
how do you lose that?
I want big head pouncer.
Like,
why can't I have big head pouncer?
Honestly, we need mutators, obviously. But even if you didn't have that, having some sort of time system or scoring system, it adds a little bit of replay value from people who want to be able to be the top of the leaderboards or whatever.
And have a way for people who only like to play a campaign to earn credits or something.
Oh God, yeah, I forgot about that. Jeez, TC, come on, let people earn credits.
Like, I mean, the whole arcade...
Especially if you're going to make us play the campaign like 7 times through. At least let us get credits in it.
Well, that's... adding mutators and stuff like that in arcade mode would allow for replay value and not make you bored out of your freaking mind going for these achievements.
And a lot of the way the games that are coming out now, moving forward, are trying to be so social and stuff. I just find it so odd that they would go the 2-player route in like such a static campaign situation. Yeah. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's. I really missed
it. Achievement-wise, I feel some of them were interesting, but it was really a lot of okay, go play the campaign again and have this very small variation on what you're doing. By including mutators or a challenge system, something that allows them to introduce challenges, it will greatly increase replay value and, like, I don't know how to say this any other way. Replay value will be increased. You'll give new challenges to people. It won't be boring.
Yeah. I also didn't like how they kept releasing these achievements just to have people play again. That's what it felt like. It didn't really feel like it was rewarding any of the people that have been playing since the beginning.
The no Nasher and no Lancer achievement was like, that wasn't difficult at all.
No, I was surprised. I didn't have a real issue with it.
That was really just, hey, go play campaign on hardcore or higher again. That's really what the achievement felt like.
And don't earn credits for your time.
Yeah.
There's also no DLC for the campaign for first. Well, I mean, Gears 1 it's not DLC, but there was that PC level.
Yeah.
Gears 2 you had the Road to Ruin. Gears 3 you had an entire new campaign. Judgment had the Aftermath thing, but now it's just. Well, I mean, there's no DLC anyway.
I don't know if it was like their work timeline or what, that it was just they couldn't get it done. But I feel with games nowadays, these are things that should be coming with the the expected. I don't know.
I mean, I don't want to like. I understand that there aren't like a smaller studio. That
not
like
anymore.
Well, I mean,
they still are.
They're not like as big as.
Yeah, like
Naughty Dog.
So they don't. I mean, I guess I don't want to like expect too much of them, but something I feel like is.
I would rather have had like campaign DLC than all these skins.
Yeah. Or I don't know. I guess we've talked about their season pass stuff and other.
Yeah, that we won't touch on that here.
I really hope that moving forward, though, that they've learned a lot from this experience.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that I didn't like the campaign. I liked it. I liked the game for the most part. It's frustrating at times, and they did a great job on it. But there was just some things I felt that they came up a little short on.
Yeah.
Like Luchador Oscar.
I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about Golden Blast. I don't want to talk about.
No, just wait. Next week they're gonna announce that.
Yeah, actually, we haven't touched on Oscar at all. What are your thoughts on Oscar?
I didn't like him.
Annoying, and then
He does. Yeah.
he doesn't die.
I didn't like
A
him.
wasted opportunity.
Just leave him dead is a wasted opportunity.
Well, I mean, they have this like big name actor as his, and the character is
Yeah.
Who seemed really oblivious to everything when he was being interviewed.
He's an extremely forgettable character, except for the fact that he was in multiplayer so much. If he wasn't in multiplayer, you would forget about him. I didn't even have him on my list of characters.
Do you remember the concept art that they had for him? I was really sad that they went the whole like drunks, goofy. I don't know. I just didn't like it. If he was like stronger and more, leader-like, serious, perhaps. Do you remember the concept art I'm talking about?
Nope.
I just feel like not to insult you, but I feel like he was like the Schwartz character almost.
He is. Oscar and Schwartz are like.
Yeah, but I mean, they could have done better. I mean, it was like Schwartz light. If I'm being honest.
Schwartz would have had better multiplayer lines.
Ooh, wow, that was fun. All right.
Do you know how to not do that in the mic?
No, I haven't learned that yet.
Should work on it.
All right, I'll practice that later. Let's see. The last note I had on here was, so we've brought up Memento Mori a lot, and I brought up the tomatoes at one point.
Easter
eggs. So actually, yeah, I thought there were some pretty good campaign Easter eggs, but do you think that they should disable achievements for using Easter eggs like Memento Mori?
I kind of do. Well, I mean, kind of do, especially if it's something like Memento Mori that changes.
I would say if it's the Memento Mori, then
because I mean, once we figured out how to do it,
either one.
Like I don't remember most of the boss fights from the last half of the game because it was just like get the Memento Mori and then one hit is even remotely challenging.
It's like honestly, it was a lot more challenging when I was on a hardcore and Schwartz was on Inconceivable, just doing that run for the Lantern Asher thing and your Inconceivable achievement, because we weren't able to have Memento Mori.
Like we were still learning the mechanics of those like later boss fights because we played through them originally and didn't pay attention to it, and then we didn't learn anything on other playthroughs.
Oh, I forgot there was a boss here.
Yeah. And holy crap! Oh, you can get him to you should split up here because you can get him to look one way and shoot him in the butt the other way.
I think if it was harder to find Memento Mori and it was one of those weapons that were just recently found and stuff like that, I think that would have changed everything. I think I could have done everything on an Inconceivable, got that achievement.
I just feel like
with this.
It shouldn't count for the achievements.
Yeah.
It's too cheesy.
Yeah.
Cheese gun.
It does. It feels like it breaks. I mean, it doesn't break the game, but
no, it does. It does.
Especially,
it diminishes the achievement.
Yeah. It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bleep bloop. Achievement. All right. Is there anything else campaign related that we want to talk about? Because we've gone through my entire list now.
I don't know.
Nothing I can think of off the top of my head.
Lots of room for improvement, I guess.
Yeah, get some. Expand your writing pool. Get your writing team. Spend some money on it.
Which was better, the campaign or the season pass?
Campaign.
Yeah.
Oh,
but it did make me pause.
It could always be better.
All right.
Campaign could be worse.
Is there anything
Season
that you liked? I feel like this movie this video.
Yeah.
This movie
bitching about stuff.
I said the prologue.
Prologue was fun.
Prologue.
No, I think
but that was kind of a throwback to everything else. Was there anything new from the campaign?
No, we have hit on a few things that we.
I like the environments. I like the character designs.
Yeah,
I think that compared to previous games, this one looks really good.
Yeah, a lot of it blended together, but it
looked great.
Good.
And I feel like there's definitely room, there's definitely room for improvement. It doesn't look as good as other AAA games that have come out for this generation, but I think that it was a really cool step up from previous Gears games.
Yeah.
Part of me kind of wishes it was open world with
Oh,
quests.
yes, I wanted to bring that up in terms of the mechanics. I think they should try to like start working in like open world ish. Like
Looting?
I don't want to see like, Horizon Zero Dawn where it's just this big
No,
like,
take that down. Take that down.
where it's just this big area that you have free reign, like where there's no like Gears' thing is that it's like you go from point A to point B and it's very linear, and I don't think that they should necessarily change that up, but they could like work on like giving you variety in the way you approach parts of the campaign.
Yeah.
I was talking about it with chaps where they should, instead of having like hallways, you should go like from arena to arena, where like there's one way you go through that's obviously the way you'd go through the campaign segment, but then like the more you look around in this area, there's different ways through. Like that part where you got outside of the map that one time, and it was this big like area that you could like stagger through, but the campaign only took you through one little hallway. I think it would be cool if that whole area had been part of the campaign, and you can like break down walls, and it lets you like bring in some of the destructible environments where like you can't destroy everything, you can't just like blast your way through and get from point A to point B as quickly as possible, but it gives you more room to like explore these areas. I think it would open up some really cool avenues to like hide Easter eggs in certain places.
Yeah.
And give you more like freedom to like create cover or create different avenues through the campaign. So instead of like going from one hallway to the next, you go from one arena to the next, which has different ways through each arena.
Yep. Anyone else got anything to add? I don't really know what else I can add to that, Schwartz. I mean, you kind of hit it there. It's less 1D.
Yeah, like
If you
you don't have to.
describe the campaign in one word, what would it be?
Wait, describe
Functional?
the Gears 4?
Describe the Gears of War 4 campaign in one word. What would it be?
Functional.
Okay.
All right.
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes.
Meh.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't anything outstanding.
Yeah, it was an okay first, well, I guess second attempt. They had UE to kind of like.
Well, this was their first
They
attempt
didn't
at
write
writing
that,
it.
though.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
I
them
mean-
writing it.
So
Also,
yeah, it was a
the
good
kind of
first
trailer
attempt.
kind of said like this is going to be this type of story, but then it wasn't.
I do, yeah.
You were never running away from the swarm.
hmm
You were actually chasing them.
And the fact, yeah, the swarm was the enemy from.
You were chasing the swarm this whole time.
Yeah, and the swarm was the enemy from Square One in all of their like promotional material. It was always you versus the swarm, and then when the game came out, you spent the first half of the game fighting the
DBs.
Cog and the DBs. And I mean, if that's the way they wanted to go, then I feel like that's how they should have advertised it. So that
Well, they didn't want to spoil stuff. They only announced the DBs like
They didn't
slightly
want to
before.
spoil stuff, but they had all
Oh,
these
God.
spoilers.
Yeah.
Check out the spoiler link below.
Ding ding. That's a fun video.
All right. I think we'll start to wrap things up then. I'm not gonna do the normal one last around the room. We're all Team Tac-Com. We've got our Twitter handles in the lower parts of our boxes, and I've got all of our links to our Twitter profiles and stuff down in the description, so you can, check us out. Look at Jess posting about dogs, Dodger posting
I don't
awesome
post all the time.
about
Dodger
Fortnite.
with Fortnite stuff.
Fortnite
Schwartz
stuff and gear stuff. And
Schwartz with his random ramblings that make me
Score
laugh,
stuff.
and me apparently pissing
making
somebody.
friends. And
Yeah,
Passively, aggressively.
If you want to grab some popcorn and watch some drama, just follow Chaps.
Yeah,
nobody likes chaps.
I make friends really easily online.
He pays us, actually.
Yeah.
What? Oh,
What? You
yeah.
get
Oh, sorry, Dodger.
You weren't supposed to tell him that. All right. And with that, I think we will wrap it up. Thanks for joining, you guys, and yeah, thanks for watching, everyone.
Bye!
Bye bye.
Now you can poop, Dodger.
Boop.